Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. Stone Cold Steve Austin shows up at Monday Night Raw right here in my backyard at Madison Square Garden and does nothing but serve as a reminder of everything that is wrong with the current day product that they present to us on Monday nights, and we are here to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw King of the Ring Spectacular Review and Results Show. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Did you enjoy Monday Night Raw tonight? What? I said, did you enjoy Monday Night Raw tonight? I said, what? Nah, I didn't really enjoy Monday Night Raw for the most part tonight. One of the reasons being was that Stone Cold was around, and that might sound like a crazy thing for a person to say. How about you a wrestling fan if you don't enjoy Stone Cold Steve Austin? Hey, you guys, do you remember the fact that it is 2019? And do you know me as a wrestling fan, I tune into Monday Night Raw, and I want to see them make a turn for the better, and I want to see them create new stars, and then they bring in Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's standing there in the middle of the ring in this contract signing between two of the biggest stars in the company, and I'm going, who are these two jabronis in the ring with the megastar? It only makes you look at Seth Rollins and go, look at this dweeb. He is nowhere in the same league as a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Braun Strowman is twice the size of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He seemed dwarfed, just absolutely engulfed by the all-encompassing personality of the great Stone Cold Steve Austin. Was the man entertaining? God damn it, is the sky blue? You're damn right he was entertaining. What? Did I enjoy everything that Stone Cold Steve Austin said? Absolutely. Do you know what Steve Austin wanted to tell us tonight when he started Monday Night Raw? Live from Madison Square Garden. He wanted to go back and remind us about that night in September 1997, September 22nd to be exact, 1997, which was the first time he ever dropped a Stone Cold Stunner on Vince McMahon in the hallowed halls of the Garden for the first time, starting and sparking the biggest wrestling rivalry in the whole entire Attitude Era, Austin versus McMahon. Do you know what else happened that night? Cactus Jack was brought to the first time to the WWE. He was facing off against Triple H in one of the best interview segments or promo segments ever. You had Mick Foley's other two alter egos. We had Dude Love sitting there with Mankind, both of them debating who's going to fight Triple H in this Falls Count Anywhere match, and they bring to the table Cactus Jack just out of nowhere. Nobody expected it. It was a surprising moment. I remember it even more vividly because I was there. I was only 20 years old and I happened to be working at Madison Square Garden at the time. I was selling popcorn as a popcorn vendor. I didn't make two fucking nickels and a dime to rub together to even have money to get home on the train, but I was there. I was there for some Knicks games. I was there for some Rangers games, but most notably, I was there for that Monday Night Raw, where two historic moments took place on the same show. The return of Cactus Jack, the first ever stunner delivered to Vince McMahon by Stone Cold Steve Austin, and 22 years later, here we are with Stone Cold Steve Austin no longer wrestling, outperforming and outshining the best of the WWE's current roster, and not even having to raise a finger to do so. And you guys don't see anything wrong with that? These guys will never be able to shine their own stars when these superstars, these real legit megastars are coming in and just blinding everybody. Hey, remember when everything was fucking great? Because it's not great anymore. So let's talk about when the times were great. Look at Stone Cold and chant your what's. Look at Stone Cold and remember the good times. Wait for him to deliver the stunner to AJ Styles for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And let's just have fun and remember when everybody used to love wrestling and it was great. Is that what you set out out to do with Stone Cold Steve Austin? Is that going to be the purpose of The Undertaker tomorrow night for SmackDown Live? You're goddamn right it was. And really, should I have that much of a problem with it? No, it made the show a little bit more enjoyable because much like the rest of you, I love seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin. But when they're not using him to further a storyline, and they're using him to make everybody else around him look like less of a superstar than him, look like a joke, then what good is he really doing coming around? He can make the entire roster look like a whole bunch of jackasses with one or two words. The man is amazing. They don't have stars like that anymore. Stop bringing them back. Make new ones. You don't allow them to grow. You don't allow them to try. There's all these scripted promos, all these stupid storylines, all this shit that don't make sense. And then Stone Cold comes out of nowhere, knocks it out of the park. Why? Because he was brought up and trained and grown in the classic way, in a way that a wrestler is supposed to be groomed. And you can see it. It's like watching night and day. It's like watching the varsity team playing against the junior dodgeball team from your local public school. It's apples and oranges, man. It's awful. Another hot topic of the night is going to be the Firefly Funhouse. And I'm going to call bullshit on this. And you can color me crazy if you want. But did anybody notice a lot of striking similarities between somebody and a certain Bray Wyatt tonight? Now, I was in my living room watching Monday Night Raw, and I seen Bray Wyatt come out, and I seen him pull out the handheld sledgehammer. And then I had to run to my room and open the door, and I checked out the studio, and I had to make sure that Thor was still in the house. I thought he got his own ticket to Monday Night Raw and left me hanging here in the studio with my friends and my family and my wife, and just went and took off, and he's hanging out with Bray Wyatt without me. But at closer inspection, I seen that Bray Wyatt's little hammer was not the same as good old Thor here. And it was just odd to me that he would supposedly start some sort of a storyline, supposedly with The Undertaker, if you're paying attention and you're reading into things the way I'm reading into things, and having a hammer similar to this one. Now, I know that could just be a very big coincidence, but, you know, he could very well be a fan of this show. He could have seen my 5 ways to book Bray Wyatt, got the idea to go up against Taker. Maybe he went and talked to the boss and talked to Taker and said, hey, let me be this guy to take out The Undertaker. He never told them he got his idea from me. I could be completely delusional right now, but I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take it as a win. And the guy maybe was giving me a nod by using a sledgehammer very similar to this one. He had his taped at the top. Who else does that? Who tapes the top of their sledgehammer? Only we do, and now apparently Bray Wyatt does. And since he wants to copy gimmicks, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just seen me and just stole it, right? He could have just outright stole it. So let's steal his gimmick too. Hey, welcome to the Sledge TV Funhouse. We got puppets we could play with here too. You guys, look, here's Rambling Fucking Rabbit. Hey, how you doing? Stranger danger, stranger danger. I could do it too. What's good for you is good for me. I can steal your thing. How about this? We got Mercy the Buzzard here too. Hey, Mercy the Buzzard. I follow the buzzards. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I know he looks like a cat, all right, but it's a fucking owl. It's a bird. He's going to be Mercy the Buzzard for us tonight. And look, we can go all out. We even got a fat pig. Oh, look at this. Oh, why you so mad? It's Mr. Nightmare. I am Fat Pig, and I am going to have fat jokes for Bray Wyatt. Well, I'm not mad. I'm just saying that there's a lot of real crazy, striking similarities. Get these fucking puppets out of here. Between what I seen from Bray Wyatt, even the way he was holding it and tapping it on his hand the way we do here, maybe he was giving me a quiet little nod and saying, thank you, Mr. Sledgeman. Maybe not. Maybe I'm going off the rails. But I had to get that out there before we went any further with any of the shenanigans that went on tonight with Monday Night Raw. Thank you for enduring that. If you haven't turned tail and left because you think I'm absolutely psychotic right now and you enjoyed my little segment there, thank you for bearing with me. You know how we do here at the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. It's all fun and games till somebody loses an eye, right? So let's get going before that actually happens. We started off talking with the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing, as he was there to mediate the Universal Championship contract signing between Seth the Boring Rollins and Braun the Boring Strowman. And like I said, this whole segment was useless. All it did was make these two guys look like a couple of goons. They looked friggin' starstruck. Even Seth Rollins. He's sitting there, and he said right to Stone Cold's face, you know, I don't usually like the what chant, but since you're here in my face, I'm gonna do it. Is that cool? I don't want to step. I mean, how fucking lame are you, bro? You don't need to ride off of the back of Stone Cold Steve Austin feeding off of his chance. Why don't you just shut it down? Burn it down, Mr. fucking Architect. Take control of the situation. You're supposed to be the superstar. He's the returning legend. He's not supposed to outshine you, nitwit. And you too, Mr. 7-foot brown spray tan. Do yourself a favor. Get out of the tanning booth. Get out of the gym and figure out how to use your words. Say something. Do something. Standing there like the world's biggest idiot. I haven't seen a bigger jerk off since the Big Show used to come around. That's not saying much. What was the purpose of this? Only to have it all be ruined by an appearance by the club. How much more predictable can we get? AJ Styles is still sticking his nose in where it don't belong. Why this isn't leading to his insertion into that champion versus champion match in the main event of the Clash of Champions, I don't know. But it's just pointless. It's pointless. It served absolutely no purpose. You had the club hit the ring. They're getting beat down by Strowman and Rollins. You know Austin's physical limitations are going to prohibit him from really getting involved that much. So what are we waiting for? The guys are brawling outside, and you got AJ Styles standing by himself in the ring, doing a little dance walk. Why didn't he just moonwalk himself right into the fucking Stone Cold Stunner? The crowd pops. They popped huge from when Austin came out. They popped huge for that stunner. And then it was like they went to sleep for the rest of the show. Or maybe they were just completely exhausted because the only reason they most likely went to the show was to see Stone Cold Steve Austin anyway. At the end of the day, in this segment, the numbers game took their advantage. And, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead because this would turn into a match. AJ Styles would suffer a stunner and we would come back from commercial break, and now there is a match going on between Cedric Alexander and AJ Styles. Why? I don't know. Do you know why? I don't think they said why. It's just a random match, and this was a fantastic match. You got two top quality guys in there going at it one-on-one, but is this a U.S. Championship match? If Cedric wins, does he get a United States title match? What is the purpose of this matchup? Is there any reason for it? Who made this matchup? Is there a robot in the back just spitting out random matches? Because that definitely seems to be the case. This match was neither here nor there anyway, because just as it was about to get good, and we were ramping up to a possible win by Cedric Alexander, you had the club come out and interfere, start to beat down poor little Cedric Alexander, and then the War Raider Viking Warrior Experience Raiders would come out and save the day, even the odds. I'm okay with the Viking Raiders versus the OC versus the club. I think that'll be a hard-hitting, very good tag team matchup. If they book it correctly and give it time on the show, I'd much rather see them do that and have that in their future than have to go out and see them over and over and over just beating up a couple of jabronis every single night that they put them in front of our faces. Other than that, there was a couple of light CM Punk chants throughout this thing, and you know, and I want to bring this to everybody's attention because everybody gets all pissed off about the CM Punk chant, and nobody really understands that the CM Punk chant is not us literally chanting for the return of CM Punk anymore. We know that's not happening. It is literally just a chant of rebellion. It is the most insulting way you could possibly rebel against this show, because we're not chanting for anybody on your show. We're not telling you that this show sucks. We're not telling you this guy sucks or that guy sucks. We're chanting for a guy that doesn't even want to wrestle anymore. That's how fucking bored we are. We're so bored, we wish this guy that wants nothing to do with wrestling in the ring anymore would come back and just steal this show. It's rebellion. It's not an actual chant for the return of CM Punk. So everybody calm down. And I wish that the fans would really just turn around and say, this show sucks. Instead, don't focus your attention on one man or one person above anything else. Tell the company, this match sucks. This show sucks. We want refunds. That's rebellion. That's a true call to rebellion. And that's what we all should be doing when we go to Monday Night Raw and they want to throw us shit like this, which only is going to lead to a 10-man tag team matchup on a go-home show for Clash of Champions that does nothing to get anybody excited for anything going on at Clash of Champions this Sunday. And that's the bottom line, because Nick Nightmare said so, since we're all going around stealing gimmicks tonight. I'll steal Austin's gimmick too. Bow! There you go. Cedric Alexander and AJ Styles in their previous encounter went almost 10 minutes, which was a great amount of time. We had a lot of good wrestling on this show. It was just too bad it wasn't backed up by any storylines that made any type of sense. Alexander wins via disqualification due to the interference of the club. We then go down to Roman Reigns coming to the arena, and it was weird because I wasn't quite sure where they were going with this, and he came out wearing a cancer t-shirt, the Connor's Cure t-shirt, so he started talking about his own personal leukemia thing, and I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we going back to this? Is this what they're going to do to protect Roman from being booed in New York's Madison Square Garden? Because that was his fate, man. When this guy came out, he was going to get booed to the roof, man. But they gave him this shield of being the spokesperson to the Connor's Cure kids. And then it became about the kids, and then I can't shit on it. I can't say anything negative about this segment. It has actually turned out to be the best possible use of Roman Reigns I have ever seen. The guy has personal experience dealing with the situation. He is going to lend that to help these children try to overcome what he's going through. We saw the listing of the kids with all their cool superhero-like wrestling names. This is something they did last year as well. I have no problem with them creating a special moment and having these kids have a great night, be introduced live on Monday Night Raw by Roman Reigns. It's fantastic. Who cares? It didn't take up much of your life. So if it bothers you all that much and you're all pissed off about it, then you got to go find a new show to watch, because we are not fucking monsters here. Right? Especially when it comes to taking care and trying to make a memory for some sick and unfortunate children. If you're that asshole, then this isn't the room for you. Go see yourself to some other fucking asshole's show, because this ain't the asshole for you. The Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair defeated SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley and Sasha Banks in a match that went almost 20 minutes, which is about 10 minutes too long. This match was way too long. A match given this much time definitely should have a lot more behind it. There was no reason for this match to be happening, other than the coincidence of both of these girls facing each other. Both sets of these girls, rather, facing each other at Clash of Champions. The WWE takes the easy way out. They book the tag match with the champions and the challengers on opposing teams. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair not getting along. Sasha Banks and Bayley, best friends again. The Boston connection in full of... And they fucking lose. Sasha Banks comes back. They put her with her best friend. They go almost 20 minutes with Charlotte and Becky, and the team that doesn't get along, the team that haven't been friends, the team that are not unified, are the ones that win in the end. I don't give a shit if it was a miscommunication or a this or a that. Whatever the circumstances of it, don't matter. At the end of the day, Charlotte Flair pinned the SmackDown champion, Bayley. So here we go once again with that 50-50 bullshit. And now there is no reason for us to believe that Bayley's going to lose. In fact, I would say that now that Sasha Banks is back, Bayley's never going to lose that championship because they probably don't even want to put it on Sasha in the first place. So we'll just let Bayley be the champion. Sasha will ride her coattails, and on and on and on we go. Unless they move Sasha Banks to Monday Night Raw in this supposed upcoming shakeup as a permanent fixture there. And then you could have Sasha as the champ of one show, Bayley as the champ of the other show, and then maybe the crowd would give a shit, because the crowd in New York didn't give two fucks about the appearance of Bayley. Everybody popped for Sasha, everybody made noise for the man, everybody made noise for the queen, but nobody gave a shit about the hugger. I don't even think the crickets gave enough care to make two chirps, because I didn't hear nothing, did you? In fact, I could have sworn I heard cheers when Charlotte Flair ended up hitting the pin on Bayley for the win on this night. A decent amount of time given to these girls, a decent amount of action. It was a little slow and boring at points. It just seemed like a practice match, like they weren't really going all out. It felt like they were just going through the motions. Maybe just, like I said, practicing for Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a whole lot of the same shit that we seen tonight on Sunday. And Charlotte Flair with that goddamn moonsault. It puts my heart in my throat every time. She doesn't land it correctly. There's no reason for 6-foot-plus goons to be going up onto the top rope and doing flips. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for 300-plus pound men to be going up to the top rope and attempting to do flips and jumps and dives. That's why matchups like Rey Mysterio and Gran Metalik suffer. Because those are the guys that are supposed to be doing it. But if everybody does it, then there's nothing special about that matchup, right? Everybody's flipping and cartwheeling and doing jumps, and you got Ricochet doing shit like that. You got everybody doing all the same shit, so nobody's special anymore, right? That's what it comes down to with the women as well. It's just like the same shit. I feel like we're back in 2017. It's the same round robin over and over and over again. They talked a little bit about the 24/7 I'm a Clown avocado toast gold-plated championship. They talked about it going to some basketball player. I don't know who he even is, nor do I give a shit. Somebody that used to play for the Knicks, who are absolute garbage, that's now going to the Boston Celtics, that are absolute garbage. So I don't really give a shit either way. Plus, it was all having to do with the absolute garbage championship that none of us here on this channel give a fuck about, and it only went back to R-Truth anyway, so who gave a shit about that? Definitely not me. After Charlotte and Becky finished off their matchup, we went backstage. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode approached the OC with a proposition. Dolph Ziggler said they could be running this place with their assistants. Oh, really, Mr. Ziggler? You guys could be running this place? You guys have done such a great job running this place. You're doing so good that you got yourself a partner that nobody even knows who the fuck he is anymore. Corey Graves wants to go out there and say, oh, Bobby Roode's having the most success he's probably ever had in his career being next to Dolph Ziggler. Are you an idiot? Do you really think that fans who are familiar with Robert Roode do not remember Beer Money? The most successful tag team maybe in TNA's entire history. The man was also a World Heavyweight Champion. By the way, he was also an NXT Heavyweight Champion of the world. You gonna tell me this is the most success he's ever had? Stick it in your pompadour, Corey Graves, you fucking idiot. Ziggler said they could take care of business tonight, and then Styles shook hands with this moron. Listen, Discount Mr. Perfect and Rick Rude have no business even talking to the club. The club should have knocked them both right the hell out. Was not the OC in that same matchup with Ziggler and Rude? I know they never got to touch in that gauntlet tag team turmoil bullshit. But why are they being friends? just for this one 10-man tag team matchup? I certainly hope so. I don't want this to go any further than tonight. Leave the OC alone. It's bad enough they got a shit name now. They don't need 2 more fucking has-been wrestlers. Even together, these guys aren't worth a damn. And they're going to be given the tag team championships this Sunday. I have a bad feeling about that. Rey Mysterio and Gran Metalik went about 5 minutes. I might be exaggerating, maybe it was a couple of minutes more, but these guys could have been given a whole lot more time. This match was slow going at first. I immediately can see a difference in Rey Mysterio. I am a guy that has been watching Rey Mysterio since the mid-90s. I know what he's capable of. I remember his championship run in the early 2000s after he won the Royal Rumble and ended up winning the championship at WrestleMania. It's just, watching him now is almost kind of painful, because I know what the guy's absolutely capable of, and I can see in his performance just some of the ways that he's just not himself. He's not the way he was. The guy's in his 40s. He's had 30 years in the business doing some of the most incredible, crazy, high-flying stuff, just damaging his whole entire body for the sake of our enjoyment, and I give the man nothing but respect. But when I see him in a match with Gran Metalik tonight, as good as the match was, again, to give respect to Gran Metalik as well, I have seen him from the Cruiserweight Classic and from some of the stuff he has done on 205 Live. I've seen him go fast-paced, lucha style on many occasions, and the fact that he was in there with Rey Mysterio and they really couldn't get out of like third gear and really hit that lucha tempo that you kind of almost expected, they did try. But it was very evident to me that Rey Mysterio going up against this younger guy was just not the man he used to be, and it didn't make this a terrible match. It didn't suffer from it. It just is something that I observed. It's something that I've seen, and I was hoping for something much better. Perhaps if they had given him a little bit more time to work with, and they had a nice 10-minute matchup, they could have told a better story in the ring with their moves and stuff like that. But as good as this was, and this was a great match for Rey Mysterio on a comeback, I don't understand why they just served him up Gran Metalik. Like, the dynamic of the two good guys and the respect thing between the two just kind of, I think, took the crowd out of it. The crowd was kind of quiet for most of it, and I think that's because they weren't quite sure exactly who to cheer for. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to pop for Mysterio because he's the old guy. And it's another thing, just like Stone Cold. He's here on Monday Night Raw in 2019. Raw is in Madison Square Garden, and he's getting a win over this guy, Gran Metalik, who it might have been better to give the win to and get a big pop and get everybody surprised, like, holy shit, nobody expected Gran Metalik to beat Rey Mysterio in Madison Square Garden, and then make something of it. Maybe Gran Metalik turns on the Lucha House Party and joins up with Andrade, and then you can have Rey and his little, or his giant son, Dominic, teaming up, and then you have Dominic turn heel on Rey Mysterio, and he joins Andrade and Gran Metalik and Zelina Vega, and now you got this Latin faction going, and their whole purpose is just to try to eliminate Rey Mysterio. Why can I think about these things and come up with ideas like this? But we get babyface versus babyface, Rey versus Gran Metalik, Rey Mysterio wins, he's back on the up and up, the legend still got it, and this kid still hasn't gotten a win on the main roster, so why should you give two shits about him? That's the only thing really wrong with it. And again, I'm not shitting on Rey Mysterio, so everybody get your balls out of a twist. I just don't understand why they are not smarter with the way that they use their veterans. Doesn't make sense. A lot of good stuff in that matchup. After this, it was just way too short, really. After this, they showed a replay of Braun Strowman putting Sami Zayn in the dumpster last May. I don't know why. I don't know why. Why are we going back to that? Is that where Sami Zayn is right now? Was it just a classic replay sponsored by Snickers or some shit? I don't know. All I know is, for some reason, I'm looking on the screen at Sami Zayn being thrown into a dumpster by Braun Strowman, and that was some of the worst stuff we ever seen, and I don't want to remember that. So thanks for showing me, jerks. Tonight's main event will be the 10-man tag match. It is announced officially. The Viking Raiders, Rollins, Strowman, and Cedric Alexander taking on the OC, Ziggler, and Rude. The Street Profits were brought to Monday Night Raw, and the pop they got just from standing in the back around a bunch of equipment was amazing. Maybe it would have been in the WWE's best interest to give these guys their first match in Madison Square Garden. Give them a big win over one of the other tag teams you weren't using tonight. Maybe use them instead of the Viking Warrior Raiders that haven't gotten over worth a damn. You think if they would have came out to bail out Cedric Alexander, that place would have went through the roof just based off of the reaction they got until they started talking. And then these guys start talking about nonsense, trying to hype up Clash of Champions, taking shots at Sasha Banks for the blue hair, not in a bad way. I think the guy was actually trying to shout out at her, like, yo, what's up, Sasha, call me, type shit. But they're talking about and plugged Clash of Champions. And then they played the whole Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan bullshit. And I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? We're going to see Roman Reigns versus Rowan at Clash of Champions. That's what that whole hype package from the Street Profits was all about? I thought it was about the whole entire pay-per-view as a whole. I thought they were going to do like a card recap or something. But no, instead, we get that. And it didn't make much sense. King of the Ring semifinal triple threat match. Baron Corbin defeats Samoa Joe and Ricochet in the most obvious and predictable ending to what ended up being a very enjoyable triple threat match. But when you take a step back and look at it, this is the WWE just being fucking sneaky. Right? They don't want to have Ricochet take the loss directly. So last week they pulled the bullshit with the double pinfall. And that was only done so that the loss could be piggybacked over to the WWE's favorite punching bag, Samoa Joe. Instead of having Baron Corbin going over Ricochet and establishing the beginning of a storyline between he and the maybe future king of the WWE, they go the easy way out. They make this a triple threat match. It turns out to be pretty good, and then they do the bullshit ending, where Ricochet does all the heavy lifting. Ricochet gets Samoa Joe in a precarious position. He executes and somewhat hits the 630 splash, only for Baron Corbin to come out of nowhere, pull Ricochet out, and scoop up the pinfall for himself, getting himself a seat in the finals, going up the ramp, and then sitting his bald, stupid ass in the throne, touching the crown, touching the scepter, which on this show is a no-no, and it just pisses me off to no end. And there should be consequences. But there will be no consequences, because we are looking at the future king of the WWE, if my gut has anything to say about it. I told you guys this might happen, but even more so, we move one step closer to the absolute worst case scenario happening, because who has been missing for quite some time? The sweatiest man in all of wrestling, Shane McMahon. There is still a chance. There is a small microcosm of a chance, but there is a chance nonetheless that Elias beats Chad Gable tomorrow night on SmackDown Live. We end up with a Baron Corbin versus Elias finals, which would make no sense. And before all is said and done, I have no reason to doubt that Shane McMahon just might insert himself right in the 11th hour of this tournament, just like he did the Best in the World Cup, and then will proclaim himself King of the Ring. I don't want to have to say I told you so. You guys that have seen my video of what's the worst that could happen with the King of the Ring, you know I called this shit 2 weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it in the annotations. You can go check it out for yourself. I called that shit. I don't want it to be true. It's bad enough that we're already in the home stretch with Corbin. I had two horses in this race, Samoa Joe and Ricochet. Either way, I would have been fine. And of course, Constable Dickhead. Soon to be King Dickhead. God. It seems like the crowds are starting to warm up a little bit to Corbin. This is the second time in 2 weeks that the guy pulled off a very good matchup. The action in this match was fantastic. It was a very good triple threat match. Everybody got their moves in. I just didn't like the finish. I wish they would have just let somebody win clean. If you were going to let Corbin win, let him win. Don't make him weasel his way in. Make him win so that there is no way anybody anywhere can say that you backed yourself into this thing. WWE don't do that shit. They're trying to be entertaining, so there has to be a swerve or there has to be some kind of a hook at the end. There doesn't. Wins and losses do matter if you let them happen. Oh, everybody get ready for it. Bam, bam. I smell like mothballs and reek of cat piss. Don't want to see you natty. Bam, bam. Do we have to talk about this? This is 5 minutes that none of us will ever get back. Seeing Natalya versus Lacey Evans once again. Natalya beats Lacey Evans. Another case of the veteran beating over the new kid that needs the rub. We've seen this over and over again. This is back and forth, back and forth. Who cares? At this point, does it matter? Doesn't matter to me. Shouldn't matter to you. Of all the segments on this night, this match by far got the most CM Punk chants on the night, which means that it was awful. Followed by a whole bunch of boos right off the bat. The crowd did not give a shit about any of this. Natalya locks in the sharpshooter. It was 5 minutes last week. It's 5 minutes this week. 50-50 booking. Evans won, and now Natty wins, and now what? Who cares? Oh, well, they're trying to build up. They're not trying to build shit. They're just 50-50 in their way to the finish line. And if you keep going 50-50, you're never going to get to the end. You go 50 steps forward, 50 steps back. How much further to the end you think you're going to be every time you take those 50 steps back? Every week, that's the case. The Firefly Funhouse, the rabbit warned Bray Wyatt that he saw a stranger. So, I threw the puppets over them. I'm not pulling them back out to reenact it again. I did enough copying of Bray Wyatt tonight. Stranger danger! Right? Bray Wyatt assumed they were talking about Austin. The pig mentioned some of the men that Bray has attacked in the past, being pretty much just running down a list of all the legends and the strangers that have come around and the Fiend has taken care of. And then Abby pointed out that her clock was stuck on 3:16, which is when Bray Wyatt pulled out Thor and then bashed the clock, and the clock showed the numbers 11:19. 11:19, the exact date of the debut of The Undertaker at Survivor Series 1990. 11:19 will be the month and year of the upcoming month of November. We are in 2019. November is the 11th month. Perhaps at Survivor Series, Bray Wyatt ends The Undertaker once and for all. 22, or what is it, the 1990, 30 years. That was a bad way to do math, I'm sorry, but I had almost 30 years to the day. That would be amazing. And we'll sit here and tell you guys I told you so on that too. The Undertaker is going to be on SmackDown Live tomorrow night. We did not have Bray Wyatt show up in Madison Square Garden tonight. I will be very surprised if tomorrow night I will be saying the same thing. I fully expect and will say to you guys right now that when The Undertaker comes out to do whatever it is he's going to do tomorrow night, we are going to see the return of The Fiend. And that 11:19 mark is going to mean a whole lot more than everybody think it does before the end. And he ended the promo pointing this hammer at the camera, very much like I do at the end of each and every one of these shows, and said, "See you in hell." Who else resides in hell? The Undertaker. Who other than The Undertaker is there? Kane. Do we want to see Kane? No. Would we mind seeing Kane be absolutely eviscerated by The Fiend on his way to a once-in-a-lifetime encounter with The Undertaker? Do it. Do it right now. Awesome. Then we had the 10-man tag team matchup, and you guys, I didn't pay attention, not for one red second. Not for 1 minute. I was so taken back by Bray Wyatt's use of the sledgehammer, and I was trying to Da Vinci Code that shit and try to see if he's trying to send me a message. I was trying to figure out the significance of the changing of the clock numbers from Austin's number to the 1119 number, which a little bit of digging by any self-respecting wrestling fan will come up with the synopsis that I just gave you guys. It's very easy to see that coming up in November may be a very big day in the life of The Fiend. We know it can't be a Tuesday because SmackDown Live will no longer be on Tuesday starting in October. And though November 19th of this year is a Tuesday, which would have worked well for SmackDown Live, I think it refers just more to the month and the year. It is also a direct link, like I said, to the exact day of the debut of The Undertaker in 1990 at the Survivor Series by Brother Love and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. And it would be a very interesting way to come to an end on his career, closing the chapter, handing over the darkness to The Fiend. I'm all in on it. Let's do it sooner than later. And that's what I was thinking about the whole time. These 10 men, the Universal Champion, the Tag Team Champions, were in there against the Ziglorious Rudolphs, the club, who end up losing. For what? What did any of this do for Clash of Champions? Nothing. Did anything that happened tonight have anything to do with Clash of Champions? Not much. Even the women's tag team matchup, at the end of the day, all it did was kind of set you up to see how predictable Clash of Champions is going to be. The show was pretty good. Even the King of the Ring match was okay until the finish. But the whole last hour was absolutely worthless. It was absolutely just wasted time. And when the babyfaces won this 10-man tag team matchup, Stone Cold Steve Austin's music would once again hit. Why he would come to the ring and drink with these guys, I don't know. What is he doing out there? What are we celebrating? What did they win? Is this an anniversary of some sort? Is this date special to Stone Cold? Is it somebody's birthday in the crowd? What are we popping beers for? Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman finally decided to work together for more than 5 minutes? Let's crack a fucking cold one. We got to beat down the OC again. Let's drink some beers. What? Once again, the main event goes off, right? Cedric Alexander gets the pin, and then Stone Cold's music hits, making everything that just happened in that 10-man main event not about the efforts of the gentleman involved, not about the guy that won the pinfall, but about the special guest legend that everybody needs to pay attention to because nobody in the ring has been deemed worthy enough to be a proper superstar. And if you think I'm wrong, there's a comment section for you to express your opinions as well, and I hope all of you guys use that comment section. As always, I enjoy seeing all your comments all the time. What was your favorite part of tonight's Raw? Do you think Bray Wyatt stole from me? Do you think Bray Wyatt is a sledgehead? And if you are a sledgehead, Mr. Wyatt, and you happen to be watching this show, and you're still here, and you're watching me at 43 minutes with the rest of the sledgehead army, just give me a little nod, bro. Like a retweet. You know, maybe a follow. Something. You don't got to go out on Raw and be like, yeah, I know I got my idea from Nick Knight, man. I'm not about that. I don't need that kind of recognition. Just, you know, maybe a little nudge. Give me a little push so that we can get this channel up and above 2,000 subscribers and beyond. We got so many channels on this platform that have skyrocketed in subscribers that cannot hold a candle to the community that we are building here at Sledgehammer TV. And it is up to you guys to help continue that growth, and you can do that right now by hitting that subscribe button. Let's get to 2K before the release of WWE 2K20 this October, and then let's try to get as high as we can before 2019 comes to a close. Do you guys think any of my predictions are going to come true? Make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. Smash that like button if you enjoyed my little puppet show. If you enjoyed anything that I said or did here today on this episode of the Monday Night Raw review, and make sure you share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world. Send it to the moon and back if you can. Share it all over the world for me. This way we can continue to grow this army larger and larger so that we can take over YouTube and then, Pinky, then the entire world. Thank you guys as always for being here with me for another edition of this show. Don't forget to check out everything else we have on this channel, from our King of the Ring worst possible scenarios and preview, to our Bray Wyatt video, to the first ever Clash of Champions. Everything wrong with that in under 12 minutes, Cinema Sins style. We didn't rip anybody off. We were very much inspired by one of our other favorite channels that we enjoy watching, Cinema Sins. They do movie reviews unlike anybody else, and I wanted to apply it to professional wrestling pay-per-views. We did it. We got it out there, and the WWE did not strike it down for a second time, so it is there for your viewing pleasure. Make sure if you have not seen everything wrong with the first ever Clash of Champions in about 12 minutes, go check it out, because it's only about 12 minutes, and it's one of the most entertaining things I have ever come up with. It is the most amount of work I have ever put into one video, and it's only 12 minutes, and it took me like 6 days, guys. 6 days of work. Reading, watching, script writing, recording, audio, editing, gathering the pictures, the photos, the videos, dealing with WWE when they struck it the first time, because they're watching me, just like you are. And if you're not watching me, I don't know how you're hearing me, but why not? Get over here, start watching me. All right. This has been another Monday Night Raw review. Thank you guys so much. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer. He was not at the Firefly Funhouse tonight. He was sitting right here where he belongs. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world. And there is not another show anywhere in the world that you have seen that has a champion microphone. Not only a champion, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world. Mr. Blue, the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. That, my friends, is going to do it. And we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Damn it, Bray. Why?